An Alistair pickup very early on, because the light on that champion is simply not fair, as we have seen many a time. I like the Maokai. I know that Maokai is kind of dropped in priority in the first couple of games we saw today, but Maokai to me is a great equalizer. It both allows you to offensively play for objectives, use the ultimate as a way to deny your opponent access to the area, while simultaneously, particularly against a team that in team fights is as decisive as Gen.G, kind of slow down those snap engages. Oh, okay, yep. Well, yeah, we're not surprised.
No, and with the fact that Xayah and Kai'Sa are both up and available, you're not going to need to worry about taking away one of those. Of course, Slater has played a wide array of champions in Kai'Sa and Xayah so far at Worlds.
Hey, they work.
They do.
They're great champions.
If it ain't broke,
yep,
you do not fix it. Kiaya is, speaking of which, going to lock away one of those. This is the most played for Slater. So it gives him a lot of safety there towards that bottom side of the map. And it means that Delight's going to have to find his angles. But what is going to be the next pickup here for GAM? We'll see whether an archetype is going to come into fruition here or begin to take form for GAM.
Of course, GAM have had some more off-the-wall picks. I love this. I think that denying from really any I'd say Eastern jungler, a Lee is always a good call.
Deny the jungler? What are you talking about?
Deny Lee.
Yeah, from Chovy.
Okay, well, Atlas, we're not
quite
there yet. I know your pick'ems are riding on this. I'm trying to focus on the game.
Okay.
But as I was going to say before Levi interrupted me with the Lee pick, has played like Wukong. Obviously, his Nocturne is a very iconic champion for him, but instead it's just going to be a classic. As Gen.G, this draft tells us nothing. This could be...
It tells us that you should probably ban Ahri.
Yeah, that's really the only takeaway here, because that's going to be locked in, and then Doran's probably going to play Renekton, and that's it.
Yep. And
maybe Jax, you know, if he's feeling spicy.
Cardi's going to probably just lock Nautilus or something, I guess. What are we going to take into the Alistair?
Rel.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like Nico. Yeah, Nico is definitely still a very strong pick here for Kati.
Something that I was expecting to see a little bit earlier on today.
Yeah.
Because, of course, APA and Faker both played in our first game, and they really do love this champion.
It was, yeah, I think it was because they banned Ziggs and Nico.
They did definitely ban
Yeah, exactly.
That was going to be one of the things that I was ready to look out for. We are going to see it here in the third game of the day, though. And bans now to come through. So Ahri, the only one that I can say is mandatory. But Taliyah going to come out first.
Not a bad one either.
Yeah.
Taliyah, Ahri, I think, are definitely ones that we would think of when it comes that Vi-Ahri combination, something that Gen.G in general are a slower paced team. I don't think that they're slow by enemies when it comes to making moves around the map, when it comes to like playing macro and getting objectives. But when it comes to kills, they're pretty low key. Unless Peanut and Chovy get like Poppy Ahri, Vi-Ahri, that changes things, and I think you want to try and avoid 2v2s like that, especially because with Lee and Nico, they're no slouch, right? The setup is really good for Lee follow-up if you're able to hit a root, and once you get Pop Blossom available, it can become very hard for some picks to do well, but it's going to be LeBlanc instead here.
I mean, there are a lot of things that you do have to ban away.
Yeah, I mean, Azir is like also hasn't been contested yet, but it's easier said than done, right? I don't think that there are wrong answers, but it's just Gen.G with their champion pools are always hard to prep for, particularly in best of one.
Yep, and Renata going to be denied here as Set is just going to be slammed. Of course, Gen.G, no stranger to Set support. Life, of course, on the team for a very long time is the one that makes the Set support very famous. Still, a flex could be thrown towards that top side if Kiaya would like to get it up there, but probably going to be in the hands of Pallet, because he actually looked pretty damn good in it in the play-in stages. There's the Ahri. Don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that Chovy was angling towards that one.
And often we see that champions that are highly prioritized in planes, then once we get to groups, now Swiss, the priorities really change. The complete and utter lack of Crocodile is really noteworthy, particularly with how much we know that a lot of Korean teams, second of which that we've seen today is Gen.G, love the pick. It's going to be the Cassante Jax matchup, one that we've seen countless times. Nothing too surprising there. Jax obviously in the side lane very strong. Cassante can bear the brunt, and the amount of front line for Pace and the plasma activation coming from his entire team definitely going to be something that GAM has to look out for.
Yeah, and I'm looking, down the line as far as what Gen.G managed to pick up for themselves. A lot of mid-game fighting, a lot of pick opportunity as well, and also an incredible amount of comfort. Like, if you were to ask me what the most played champions this year, I'd say that, like, these picks are in the top 3, top 4 for all of them. Delight, of course, because Alistair made it into the meta a little bit late, but we saw in the playoffs he was just incredible on that champion. So, bit of a blind pick roster here. However, you look on the side of GAM, and what you need, I think, in order to try and challenge LCK teams, like, the biggest weakness is often if you're going really, really fast in the mid-game. And GAM do have the opportunity to up the tempo in the mid-game and try and form themselves a snowball. It's by no means, a path to success, but I think if you're gonna win, it's a decent way to aim for it,
Additionally, I do think that the Gen.G composition is very short range, and you do have a lot of champions that kind of prey on that, right? Sett loves it when people are trying to jump into him. Great counter engage. Xayah is self-explanatory. And then the Nico can also be used defensively. Use the Pop Blossom as a tool when Gen.G jumps on top of you. The problem is, can you execute on that? Because as mentioned, Gen.G generally pretty slow team, very active on objectives, but not necessarily in kills. With a setup like this, though, I expect them to try and put a lot more pressure to GAM, and we'll see how well GAM is able to deal with that. Because if you get to a position where your Xayah maybe picks up a couple of kills, anything can happen.
Absolutely. I think mid-jungle is where our eyes are going to be glued for both of these teams, to be perfectly honest. Like, if a Nico gets a large advantage, these Pop Blossoms can be game-ending. So that could be something to play around. But Vi Ahri, I mean, it's pretty synonymous with not only strong mid-game power, but also just Gen.G as a whole. It's how they've been able to get a lot of their advantages in the LCK, something that could be quite difficult to come up against here for GAM. But you can see they're still in high spirits here on the desk, and if they can make their mark this early on in the tournament, my goodness, it's going to be some pretty amazing things to take home.
Hey, if DRX can do it,
exactly.
Hey, everything is possible.
Hey man, I'm starting to believe in TL.
Oh, after today's game, I don't think that's no stretch.
Nope, not at all.
Pretty reasonable. We'll see. I think we have a pretty good idea once we get into mid-game. 10-15 minutes is where I expect one of these teams to have broken open a game to a certain extent. But if we get to late game, even though I think Lee and Nico aren't necessarily the best late game characters, maybe GAM can make something happen. But we got to be honest as well. It's the LCK #1 seed against the play-ins team, so the expectations on Gen.G are that they will be able to swiftly dispatch of their opponents.
Yeah, there will be a fair bit of doubt if Gen.G don't manage to lock this one down, but GAM, they've got a chance. They are on the rift right now. Here we are, getting into our third game of the day. The LCK first seed up against GAM from the VCS. A tall order here for GAM.
Yeah.
But it was a tall order. It's been a tall order for other teams in the past, and they've been able to come out ahead.
Hey, LCK team in the game.
There we go. Got that pause. This is the in-game pause variety. We did see in our previous game that we had the pick ban pause
classic
variety. And we here at the LCK have a bit of a reputation when it comes to pauses. And we wanted to make sure here on the first day of Swiss that we demonstrate what those things that we're known for are.
We have to give, the authentic experience.
Oh, exactly.
We've actually not been doing a great job because we've mainly been talking about the game and the teams.
I know, it's really
which,
sad.
That's not normally what we excel at.
And I actually missed out on a really cool tidbit from the last game that I really wanted to talk about, but I couldn't.
I think we should.
But we can't do it now.
No, you have to save it. But it is a great tidbit. And you guys, when Atlas inevitably is going to talk about it, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
If you get to cast the team again, which isn't by no means a guarantee.
No. But,
otherwise
if
it's
it
a
does
missed
happen,
opportunity.
I'll be very, very happy about it. And then maybe I'll put out an X.
It's a lesson. That's what it is.
I don't even know what they're supposed to be called.
Atlas, I'd like to enjoy the game, the two games that are ahead of us.
Well, speaking of the game, I think we're going to bring up the draft and we can have a look at where some of this power is going to come from these teams. We've already mentioned mid-game power and things like that both teams are going to be angling for. But what's your take? If there is a theoretical GAM victory before us, where does it come from, Chronicler?
I'd mainly be looking at either trying to, which is the riskier of the plays, right? Try and get an early point of pressure towards Peanut and Chovy, because I do think that the Vi Ahri specifically spikes extremely hard at 6, but pre-6, you know, obviously if you land a charm in the queue, it can have some power, but it doesn't really become nearly as life-threatening and as big of a problem to deal with until that point. Maybe get an early kill until Levi try and put Gen.G on the back foot. But then the problem is that has to be in a 2v2, because trying to invade Peanut, as we have seen many a time, it just doesn't really do that much. I think Peanut, out of any LCK jungler, by far is the most consistent at absorbing pressure, much in the way that Blabber did last game, right? Just, he's fine, you know, flash down, maybe you give up a camp or two, which in last game didn't even end up happening. And then outside of that, I think the one place where Pays, in particular, Delight to a certain extent, but the one criticism that you can levy towards Pays is that his laning phase hasn't always been impeccable. And if we go back to, for example, I want to say it was MSI 2022, Gumayushi and Carrier versus the Saigon Buffaloes in the first game of that MSI, they actually got pressured hard, right? So maybe that's the angle. Maybe you try and just force an early all-in, have Levi take a creative pathing, and really put the pressure to Pays in the light, because if you get to mid-game and Pays isn't behind, it's bad. It's not good. It's not good. You have to keep him down.
Well, I have a bit of an update, ladies and gentlemen. We have a slight peripheral issue. I believe it was Levi, if looking at the referees on stage tells us anything. And we got things upside down. BDS fan in the
BDS and K-Corp fan.
There we go. And I had something else that I wanted to talk about as well, and it's gone. It's just gone.
Did it make you forget it?
No.
Oh.
No, it's my brain. My brain, not you. Not on you at all.
Forgot it yourself. You wanna trace back the thoughts?
Yeah, there was something that I don't. Oh yes. It was this. In fact, it was this wide shot. I'm really glad that we get to check in with the Korean broadcast when we get this shot.
One of the largest reasons why I am excited to have Worlds in Korea, right? Obviously, it's really cool for us to welcome everyone here, but it's also as a Chovy, you know, he's rebooting. That's normal. Yeah, Faker started it, and everyone is joining in.
All energy is expended on the Rift, not off the Rift.
I mean, using the energy to keep your eyes open.
For a second, it looked like he was actually asleep, and I don't think that's the aim.
As I was saying before, I interrupted myself.
Yes.
A habit that both of us find hard to shake.
Yeah.
The fact that Caster Jun is here, you know, everyone gets to listen to him. A living legend, it's so nice.
No, it's absolutely fantastic.
It's amazing.
We actually get both. We get both Sunke and Caster Jun was here earlier on as well. I had a chat to him backstage after the T1 victory. And we were both very worried together for a few moments. So we're just trying to make sure that we can get everything sorted out. I assume it might come down to a turn it off and on again situation, but maybe it's more than that, because I'm entirely guessing as to everything as Delight is trying to let the cameraman know something.
There are very few people that are as aptly named as Delight.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because he's just always having a good time. He's always happy, always looking like he's enjoying himself. And as much as I think a lot of the narrative focus for Gen.G this year has been on Pays, which makes sense because of everything surrounding him, who we followed up on, his experience early on. So we have some Weibo fans in the audience, of course, going to be playing later today against NRG. Delight's journey with Gen.G and T1 Academy/Challengers into Brion, where he was a really large part of why the roster was, I think, started the Garner fans last year, and then now to, depending on Carrier's form, what many might call, and at least in summer, the best support.
Carrier, Lehens, and Delight, the three best supports, and on any given day, the order could change.
Yeah.
And that is a crazy thing to think of.
Hey, Fleur from Sweden?
Just to see T1, and they saw like a banger T1 versus TL game?
Yeah. Lucky.
I mean, after the result, it's
halfway
through, it would have been like, I'm flying back.
A bit rough.
Yeah, but nope, it's all right. Everything worked out, and as it turns out, it all depends on whose Nexus falls down.
I am just glad that we do. I said it before, but this is the LCK experience. You know, both in gameplay and in pauses.
And I have found out that it is in fact a mouse issue. We are trading the mouse out and making sure then afterwards that the mouse does in fact work. And so that is what we're battling right now.
Would you rather play with only mouse or only keyboard? If you could find a way to make, League movement work with just a keyboard.
Only...
so you have to click every skill. I think it has to be mouse, right?
Yeah, I think it has to be mouse. I think it'd be very difficult to play with only a keyboard unless you're allowed to use a trackpad, in which case...
Well, that's just...
I'd go with that.
a trackpad?
Like if you say you've got a laptop and you don't have a mouse, you'll have a trackpad.
How often have you done this, Atlas?
Never.
Never?
No.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if that was the reason why you play the way you do.
I mean, I play terribly with all of the equipment that's perfectly set up for me.
It's not the equipment's problem.
It's not the
exclusively a you thing.
However, if you were to take away said equipment, it'd be an absolute nightmare.
It'd be worse.
Yeah, we're not. I don't even want to give that any thought because it will really deflate any self-esteem.
Look, we got.
Yeah, that's what I was saying
green
before.
desk, yeah, but look at it. We got Shocks waving as well.
Oh, hi.
Hey,
We've got
Jet.
all of the desks.
Kobe's not waved. I don't know why.
Yeah, there he goes.
Oh, there we go. Hey, we got the whole
guys.
gang.
I assume that they're also up there, just in case this particular pause goes for an extraordinarily long time. But now we're on screen, so we don't actually...
Maybe we're going to talk to them? I don't know.
We could do that.
It's
but
anything's
first,
possible.
I mean, let's just throw it over to them and see what they want to do. How about that? Take it away, Shocks.
Oh, thank you. We were actually trying to talk to you, but I don't think... Hello.
I was hoping they could hear
now.
us.
Yeah. Oh, now you can.
Yeah,
Hello.
now we can.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
So we just wanted to remind you that Cloud9 just beat Europe.
Oh, my God.
So they brought us back.
It's true.
We decided to pause Worlds for a second, just so that everyone can just kind of sit in
We gotta
that.
gloat
When you're
in
up,
it.
you're up. 1-1. Let's go.
Let's go. I mean, Gen.G can't say
Can
they're
it
up
get any
1-0.
better than 1-1?
Can it? That
For
would
NA,
be,
I'm not sure.
That'd be crazy. Hey, yeah, we do have a little bit of a delay, peripheral issue on stage. League officials are working on a fix. I'd love to get your take maybe on Gen.G. We didn't get a lot of time to talk about favorites in this tournament, but when you look at Gen.G and the fact that they have been so successful in the LCK, let's set the stage a little bit about it now that you have the first draft that they're choosing to field, Jet.
Yeah, I think Gen.G is just a fascinating team because they've won 3 LCK splits in a row. But unless you really follow the LCK, you don't think they're very good.
What?
Unless you follow the LCK. No, I'm serious. So listen to this. Like, I've heard so many people talk to me.
We let him cook.
Let him cook.
I've heard so many people talk to me about Chovy, who only watch Worlds. And they're like, that guy's not very good.
What?
He's saying other people say.
Because literally, if you only watch Worlds in MSI, he doesn't do that well.
Wow, okay, you heard it. Jat said that about
But
Chovy. Back to the casters.
He got to play. Yeah, we're done. I don't get to explain myself.
This is actually the best point that Jack could ever be cut off in the middle of. 100%. He's actually going to come and invade our desk again just to finish his point in the middle of the game. That's on my bingo card, by the way, now after game 1.
We were playing bingo?
Yeah, I don't even want to guess what the point is that he was trying to get to.
Who are you playing against? I'm not playing bingo.
I'm playing with myself. I can always win if it's just me.
What's the point?
Pride?
I
All right.
No!
Okay, did someone go and talk to someone about letting Jat finish his point?
This is because of you. This is because it's who plays bingo by themselves.
I don't know. It might just be me. There might be other people as well. But I'm the only one I know of. I don't know that many people, Chronicler. Get off my back. Can we throw it back to Shock so that Jat can finish his point? I think we can.
I don't know. I would actually
they're going to be with us.
Yeah,
we can all speak together.
I want to share a very fun story about Doran with you guys. It's the Shiv incident. I don't know if you guys know about this. So what happened in the LCK? We had in the first week of summer, we had KT versus Gen.G, which was thrown off. There was a
Aiming
bug
built static Shiv when it
wasn't
a banned
allowed
item.
to, right?
So it was a banned item, and then they had to remake
Bad
the
boy.
game because he built
Bad
this
boy.
item.
So that was very
Very
unfortunate. Then what happened? Because he wanted to build Stormrazor because it was the same path, but then he accidentally built the wrong item. Had to pause the game. It was a whole thing. Then what happened a week later is a couple of weeks later, Doran actually pauses the game because he's playing Quinn and he built a Shiv and it's not proccing. It's not working.
Yeah, and so he paused it but as it turned out, he only had a Kerche shard in his inventory.
No
He
way.
hasn't finished this item.
Yeah, and he paused the game for like a minute, and we're like, whoa, what's happened? Has he built a shiv? Is it illegal? And then we look at the items. He hasn't built anything, as it turns out. Anyway, Jat, about Chovy. I heard
What do
he
you
was a
wanna know?
bad player.
Yeah, what's going on? Did he
okay.
also forget to build something?
His level at international tournaments versus his level in the LCK is just wildly different. No?
I mean,
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that he hasn't been able to show the potential that we've seen in the LCK internationally yet.
And I loved the Worlds teaser that we got to see before the show. If you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure it's going to be up on LoL Esports YouTube.
It is up.
But he legitimately said, like, I'm not going to be nervous this time. So his potential, Chovy, like, is the best mid laner in the world, potential world champion. But, like, for me, Gen.G comes in as a big favorite. Yet we see, like, I swear, if we were to break down the last, like, 7 or 8 years of Worlds, there's been so many years where people are like, yeah, LPL's got like 4 of the 5 best teams, man. And then you see Korea win every group. And last year we had a Korea versus Korea final. So I just really want to see Gen.G almost like reach their full potential, or Chovy reach his full potential at Worlds, so he can get the recognition that he's garnered from LCK fans.
But is this only in like the key, like the final matchups that they can play, or are you brushing this like all his international performances? Because I feel like it's mostly in recent memory.
Yeah.
In like, you know, whenever they get knocked out.
Well, like MSI, they just didn't even make final. Right?
That's a good point.
So I just wanted to make a
Keep
a
going.
counterpoint, but maybe we're in game.
You're the one that's allowed to talk, Chronicler, because we're in the game.
Well, yeah,
so
but
you
I
can
was
talk.
having a fun
They
time.
can still hear you. It's okay.
Okay, yeah, but it's not the same, Atlas. I want to hear what their thoughts are.
They can always just come over to the desk,
as
as
I was
Jat
saying,
proved already.
And you were with me on this one because I know you were a fan of this particular lineup. I'd actually argue that when Chovy had the least expectations on him is when he was the best internationally, which
Absolutely,
was on
yeah.
Live 2021.
Yep. Let's not think about 2020 DRX, which I always do, and now I'm doing it again. But
Hey.
here we are, into the game. Let's
Loving this from Levi.
Yeah, go back again. Levi is just going to be stealing away Peanut's jungle. Peanut is going to know what's going on, but we'll see what's actually going to happen. Peanut's going to miss the Vault Breaker, but it doesn't matter because he's able to walk back, grab himself. Okay, that charm didn't miss on Ducati, who's going to find a Blooming Burst as well, so not too bad. Able to even out the trade.
So I think because of the bot lane situation, Levi didn't run the risk. And he also, he wasn't aware of whether or not Peanut have smites. But with red buff, like, and especially with Peanut missing Q, he wins the 1v1, right? So then it comes down to, do you think that Palat can roam in time? And I think the Light did already have the move, so they didn't want to run the risk as the Light being a nuisance. And unfortunately for Levi, I think the invade, good idea, that doesn't end up actually working out or making a difference. And now Peanut instead is going to double scuttle. It's the same as last game.
Well, Facebreaker is going to come through here. Good headbutt to try and disengage from the fight. But already, GAM showing some aggression here towards the bottom side. You like to see it. And like you were talking about, double scuttle to come through here from Peanut. And Levi walking over Vision as well. It looks like GAM playing through a bit of a power point here, as his bottom lane is in a pretty good spot. Although it is a stacked wave that FaZe should be able to get done here, as there is the Hex Splash into the Facebreaker Delight. Just going to pulverize. The Haymaker does come through, but the Cow is going to be okay.
And with Levi not actually getting the early invade really working out, as, oh, this is very valuable poke. Doran is stacking a big wave. And Peanut looking for the gank here. Levi's on his way, but I don't think he'll be in time. Look how low the health bar is.
Yeah, Doran already having that chain. That's why it's so much damage to come out. The Q3 is going to connect as Levi just going to walk into the brush. I think Peanut was, I don't know, maybe he was just hoping that he'd be able to get the back off, but doesn't actually happen there. He's going to be able to get himself out of the way. So no dive. And now, Chovy here in this mid lane, looking for a charm opportunity. There are 2 Nikos, though, and that can make things difficult. Doran just having a heck of a time here.
And Kiaya definitely needs to be careful with the health bar. Has been able to farm really well, though. We see a lot of trading happening towards his top side. So with the jungle buffing of both junglers being a little bit wonky due to the invade, we do see that Peanut heading up there again. I was about to say, is the ultimate.
Right. Yeah, there's the all-out. Level 6 going to get gained here by Doran first, but doesn't find the opportunity. And now Kiaya will be able to get to that level 6 pretty safely under his turret. You would assume Peanut moving on over. He does
Flash.
not have the ultimate just yet. Vault Breaker going to come through. He's going to connect it this time around, but there is a counter-strike, and Peanut tanking the turret. He has to flash to get out of the way, and Kiya's like, bring it on. We'll see what else you can do, but there it is. First blood comes down, but it's immediately answered.
Doran overestimating his tankiness there, and really good use of Counter-Strike there by Kiya. Peanut actually using his E-empowered auto attack. That missing damage ends up costing them, and that's a really hefty investment. Might end up being worth it. I'm not sure what the wave state is. If it ends up pushing away from Kiara, Doran can catch it, not miss too much. Might be somewhat worth if you add the first blood to it, but definitely not the cleanest dive there from Gen.G, and GAM going to be happy that Kiya is able to pick up a counter kill as well, and he holds on to his flash.
Yep. Going down the line as well. Things pretty even in the other lanes, but let's have a look at this replay.
As we do see Kiya using the leap strike, then even with the Q hitting Peanut, I think could have tanked an extra turret shot, really early flash there, but he doesn't want to get caught in the counter strike with the turret on top of him. And then Doran's like, yeah, maybe
it almost was really good.
Yeah,
but
he's not tanky enough.
Does come through. All right, we are going to be able to find the snare, and Peanut going to go down. Levi collects a second here for GAM in the early game.
And this is exactly what we have been talking about. Want to see GAM try and play as aggressive as possible in this early game. As Doran, again, both these guys just trading perpetually, both sitting on about the same items as well. But getting these type of picks onto Peanuts does take away a lot. I think post 6 is going to change some things with Chovy and Kati actually both flashing as well. I don't think that was caught on cam. That does mean that the offensive pressure for Chovy specifically definitely going to be somewhat mitigated. Will have access to his ultimate, so definitely still going to be able to apply some pressure, especially once Peanut hits 6. But it's interesting to see that all across the map there is a lot of X, and I think that type of volatility, really what you're looking for is, yeah, Peanut goes in here, they feel like they have an advantage, but crucially, Paze is behind this play, and you can't just walk past that set.
Yeah, I mean, Chovy was behind the play as well. I mean, it was GAM collapsing way faster.
Pretty well done.
Really like to see it. And Peanut just back to his farming ways here. He is ahead by a couple of camps, but honestly, gold entirely even. GAM's going to be pretty happy with how this game started. Doran will be able to find Kiya here, but E, one heck of a button to press when you're playing Jax.
But remember up, I don't think Gen.G can contest this, and they're also not really in a position to try and play for the cross map. Maybe they look to get a kill on the exit here. The light's on his way.
Yeah, Kiya is an opportunity as the Vault Breaker being charged here for Peanut is going to come on through. Pallet going to be fighting Doran. Peanut still just in the fog of war. Doran's going to deliver them. The Haymaker comes on down, and Peanut, he is going to finally start fighting, but he's straight into a Pop Blossom. He manages to pick up the kill onto the Jax, and now it's Delight. It's Chovy, and it's Gen.G that are striking back in the battle. It was almost so good for GAM. But Gen.G reigns supreme in the end.
Well, Gen.G really playing with fire there. As love this.
Kati is going to look for the snap. It doesn't quite get it. Dash just long enough for Doran.
And that was very narrowly timed around the arrival of Delight. But Gen.G definitely cutting some corners there. And GAM also got the Herald. So even though the kills are favorably traded for Gen.G, GAM will have the opportunity to maybe try and get some plate gold back. Will equalize the play a little bit. What is big, though, is who were able to pick up the kills. There, right? A kill going over to Chovy this early on. Really going to accelerate him in the Ari. Also, do note Pace going for the lethality Kai'Sa build, trying to really amp up the aggressive pressure. We've seen the Duskblade and Umbral Spike be very unfun to play into. And Umbral Glaive, obviously, as we've seen countless times, incredibly valuable at controlling early vision.
Yeah, the rush is actually kind of oppressive here from Gen.G as Pei is able to clear out any vision that is left in lane. Means that all of the brush control is there all of the time for Gen.G. First Infernal going to be taken down here. It looks like Peanut won't be contested for that one as Delight is playing Cow Bouncer. Should be able to get them out of there if they do want to come down. So there it is. Skewer does come through. Hextech going to be our next one. A few different options as far as souls are concerned, but Hextech and Infernal are probably people's favorites as far as the added power. Oh yeah, Levi could be in a little bit of trouble. Pallet is in the area. Slater could come on down, but there's the Vault Breaker to connect onto Levi. Headbutt Pulp does come down. And it's all about picking your poison, choose your target, and Peanut has said, Pallet, you are dead. And that is indeed how it is going to go. Doran also pushing Kiaya away in this top lane. As Chovy doing a little bit of a drive-by, but that is not the real Nico. In fact, Cardi's moving towards that top side of the map. Doran wanting to get towards this plate, but it might be decent bait here for GAM. Not going to overextend, though, as you can see.
And this is where I think a lot of the opponents of Gen.G always run into trouble. We're seeing it happen to GAM as well. Off of that skirmish, that Gen.G, they gave up Herald, but they were able to win the fight. They then are able to path as Doran.
All right, there's the all-out. Doesn't get over the wall, though. So Doran is just going to say, here's my R button, and just pay it no mind.
We'll be able to get another turret. Might also die. Does spot Levi here, so he should be playing respectfully. He's Cassante with flash, though, so...
Oh, there's the flash kick to land onto Doran. He gets stunned up as well, and Doran's now trying to escape, but it's not going to happen. Levi going to lock down that kill, as you were saying.
You knew he was there! Doran!
Oh.
Yeah, it's classic Doran. I mean, I'm not surprised. But I am a little bit disappointed, nonetheless.
I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Desensitized?
I mean, these things have happened before. He was playing to his limits, you know?
Counterplay.
Something like that. As, yeah, Chovy is going to teleport in. Looks for the opportunities. Burnt the ult already. Kiaya out of mana almost entirely, and there's the charm. Kill going to go down, and that is going to be Chovy's second. Pays here towards his bottom side of the map as well, looking to be aggressive towards Slater. You can see Slater paying him a lot of respect. Spade's doing his best to make sure he denies as much as possible. With this wave, will push towards the Xayah, and Slater should be able to catch the wave in this 1v1.
Yeah, what we are seeing, though, and this is, well, Gen.G, I think, really only does this as hold up.
Another hip-up pulp is going to come through, and another charm will land. Cardi's going to be able to get that flash off, but there's the cease and desist. Pop Blossom going to come through, but Peanut is going to be tanky enough. He wanted to give the kill to Chovy, but it is not going to happen. Oh, another turret shot, and Chovy will survive. So it's fine.
I love how Delight just sets up a perfect, you know, standing there with his unbreakable will, tanks it perfectly. Chovy's rooted on the turret, and Peanut's like, peace out, hombre. Good luck with that one. If you die, you die.
Hey, there was no one else there, you know? And if he died, he was going to die anyway, no matter what Peanut did, so he may as well exit. I think it's fine. 2,000 gold going to be the lead here for Gen.G. Nothing really to worry about just yet. However, it is the tempo of the game that is the problem here for GAM, because it is slowly but surely slipping out of their control more and more. Kiaya going to be able to grab a few plates here, though, on this top side. The Jack's absolutely a win condition here for GAM. Kiaya has also been a big power point for this team throughout play-ins as well. So some options to play around, but it's looking more and more dicey.
For GAM, the main thing now is to try and get like one big fight around the Dragon, ideally, where you're really able to play off of Kati, where Levi maybe gets himself an early pick, or Pallet can try and absorb the engage that inevitably is going to come through. We've seen Gen.G playing very aggressive, very dive-heavy, really happy to scrap and skirmishes. Delight does not know that Levi is behind him, but this is an Alistar with ult and flash, so not the juiciest of targets. And they seem to be looking towards trying to make a play on Pays, but he's playing very respectful with Delight hovering as well, and Chovy making his way over. Isn't really an opening here for GAM.
Yeah. Have a look at the MasterCard lane economy snapshot. Of course, in lane, Chovy does focus on economy. That has been his thing. Glad that we're seeing that represented here pretty accurately. I don't necessarily know whether it tells the story of how this game has been going, but you've seen that Cardi has been first on the roam a few times, which does go back to what Chovy of old used to be like. But what we've seen from Chovy has actually been a vast improvement on supporting the rest of the team around the map and not necessarily having as much of that lane priority, which absolutely is not represented at all in this game thus far. Just a bit sad.
Peanut going to start up the objective here. I do think that GAM, once you start falling too far behind, it becomes really hard to find consistent win conditions. Doran going in again.
Yeah, not going to press the R button just yet. And Chovy looks for the Everfrost. Oh, just barely. The heels of Pallet were in trouble there. And Peanut will be able to lock down this Rift Herald, of course. GAM with full information. Levi looking for that opportunity. There's another safeguard kick onto Chovy, but it's an Ari. So he's able to press R, get out a few times, but they do put it on cooldown, and it could give an opportunity for GAM to get themselves their first strike of this game.
Yeah, would have loved to see Pallet maybe go for a Pallet.
All right. Yeah, Pallet is just going to get knocked into the air, and Pei is going to be able to lock that one down. My goodness. The Acathian Rain is terrifying from this Kai'Sa. And they're going to push this Rift Herald through 2 turrets, as it turns out. Kiaya also getting down relatively low towards this top side, but Doran going to find the flash. The all-out comes through, and he just chops up the Jax.
And after some early attention from the rest of his team, Doran says, I can take care of it by myself now. And this is really where I think a lot of teams, as we have seen, Gen.G's mid-game, particularly when they are not falling behind in any of their lanes, is so oppressive. They're pushing you in mid. They're forcing defensive summoners, take down Pallet, turn that into an immediate double charge of the Rift Herald. And yeah, Doran is just off on his own, doing what Doran does.
Yeah.
And actually, I think really nice setup here. Knows that he has the damage available. Goes for the Q into flash. Guarantees that he's able to take down Kiaya. And everything kind of starting to fall apart for GAM. It's no surprise, but given how the early game looked, as we can see here, pretty even, it's quickly getting out of control.
The thing that I do want to see is that GAM continue to try and go for these plays, though I don't know whether it necessarily gets better as this game goes on. And so Levi, I think, has had the right idea in a lot of occasions. Chovy in the side lane here towards the bottom lane, looking for this outer turret. Should be able to lock that one down. It's the last one remaining. The map is just wide open at this stage, and it is so scary with the amount of pick potential that Gen.G has. I mean, if you walk towards Delight, then there could be so many players that could just nip over a wall and collect you, and the chain CC is terrifying.
We've also gotten to the point in the game where the level 2 for Killer Instinct is available, so every single play that you go for, again, every member on Gen.G can set up plasma stacks for Pei, so he can join at a moment's notice. Going to have a fat back here as well, able to pick up, was just sitting on a Duskblade for quite a while, or rather a Dirk for quite a while there, able to immediately pick that Duskblade up. And when there is no frontline on the main enemy team, this build, very impressive. Double TP coming in.
That is a solo lane sandwich here as the charm point blank range is going to connect onto Slater, but he's going to be able to cleanse flash to get himself out. But is it going to be enough? The answer is no. It's Peanut comes on through with the cease and desist, and the Zyre is going to be taken down. Pallet's now trying to stay alive. Doran will be able to lock that one down, and meanwhile, GAM is being disintegrated. They do manage to take down Pays, but I think that is going to be the end of the good news for the VCS squad. And Gen.G will find all but Cardi in this one.
And Cardi unable to join the play there. I think might have a teleport available at the beginning, but even if you do, by the time that you teleporting in, I think the fight was already lost. And it's the early aggression, or the way that Gen.G plays. As mentioned, Chovy going in here, catches Slater immediately, forcing a defensive summoner. And then even if Slater is able to press his R button here, you're not making it out. But due to the Ocean Rift, he actually never sees Peanut come in. Has no opportunity at all. And then Pays actually ends up staying alive for a little bit longer because of Duskblade. Doesn't end up mattering though. Like, it's nice that Kiaya gets a kill. But while all of that is happening, Doran also killed Palette. That was kind of a side story. And the gold lead that was somewhat manageable is now not.
Less
no,
manageable.
I'd say not. I wouldn't say less. I'm saying it's not
manageable.
Not manageable, Atlas.
Whoa.
You know me, I'm not one for strong words.
Slater is now not going to get vault broken here by Peanut, but the Featherstorm does have to come through, but he's not going to get caught by the pop blossom. The knockup from Delight. What was that? They do manage to get yet another kill for Kiaya, but it is once again not the story they were looking for, as he will eventually go down. It's a double for FaZe in the end of it all, and this time it'll be the ace for Gen.G.
And Baron about to spawn in 5 seconds. Gen.G took some time to get going, but looking like GAM has been unable to keep this team down. Shouldn't come as a surprise, as the Baron's going to get taken, and I don't think we're going to be in this game for much longer. And unfortunately for GAM, looks like the 0-1 pull is waiting for them.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, with pulverizers like that, like, Delight, man, what an incredible start to his Worlds run, because he was one of the players that didn't necessarily perform as well when we got to MSI. So it's good to see him starting things off with a play like this.
Iconic to see Peanut miss his flash Q, but it doesn't end up mattering at all, right? The amount of CC damage available. Gen.G is so far ahead at this point in items that even if they lose 1 or 2 members, you can probably clinch out that fight. But if you do get everyone grouped up, it's rough.
It certainly is. Kaya, certainly hats off for always being the one that's able to at least take something away from Gen.G in these fights. But like you say, it's just not looking all that close. The Baron going to be secured here by Gen.G. They can grab themselves Soul Point if they would like as well, but I imagine that the base is at the forefront of their mind right now. And our Red Bull Baron power play is not exactly all that healthy at this point, but I have a feeling it's going to grow.
I wonder
not right now, though, because Kai is going to get some money.
Yeah, it's a bounty.
Heck yeah.
That's valuable. I wonder how aggressive Gen.G is going to play. I think Levi's showing on Vision now, so definitely. And actually, you know, I don't hate the cross map from GAM. It's not like you can fight this team, so you might as well try and hope that they just back off.
Yep, getting
That's
anything is definitely a positive. As Kiaya is going to keep going, and he may as well, but these inhibitor turrets will fall. At least 2 inhibitors will go down. And defending Nexus turrets is certainly going to be a priority, and as you can see, Kiaya agrees. He's going to be heading home now. We'll see whether they can hold on, because Gen.G, it looks like they don't want to be here for all that long today, Chronicler. Looking to try and end it as soon as possible. The Vault Breaker going to be channeled here. Picking your target is going to be important, as Peanut is just going to use it in another direction. And yeah, there is a headbutt pulverize onto Cardi, and into the backline goes Pallet. The Haymaker does buy a little bit of time, and the Pop Blossom's decent, but Gen.G, the wallets are too heavy at this stage of the game, and they are just going to rip through GAM. Slater, the last one to go down. It's a double for Chovy. They'll deal with these Nexus turrets and the Nexus. They'll call it a day here, 22.5 minutes.
And Gen.G, I think I saw a JDG icon there at the end as they dove into the side, into the fountain, because Gen.G looking good here today. The fact that with the Swiss format we can have a Gen.G JDG best of 1, provided that JDG beat BDS, of course, our next matchup. That'd be something. Unfortunately for GAM, the same fate for them as many an LCK team.
Yeah, I don't know how much we necessarily learned from this one. This was always going to be a really, really difficult game for GAM, but we certainly learned that Gen.G still look really good. And as we've been hearing, you know, around Korea at the moment, when you have whispers of scrims and things like that, certainly Gen.G still on a little bit of a tear, and with JDG staying with them, makes some sense that they're getting some decent practice in.